Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. We're here today to do another 2019 ski review. This is the 2019 Nordica Soul Rider 97. Pretty exciting for me because I spent quite a bit of time on this ski last season. So definitely can give some anecdotal information as to how they ski. Probably have, I don't know, 40 to 50 days on them at least. So pretty fun. But before we dive into that, we've got some exciting stuff happening this time of year. Ski season is rapidly approaching. So this time of year we start to receive all of our 2019 skis, or all of the upcoming ski season's skis, including these Soul Rider 97s. We recently got these, so I thought it was a cool time to take a look at them. So lots of skis showing up every day. So keep checking the website, you'll see new stuff pretty much every day. We also will be running some sales leading up to the ski season. Right now we have a 10% off sale, and you know, you may see some bigger sales, but you may not, and you may see no sales at all. So I would say when we're running something like a 10% off sale, if there's a ski that you're interested in and we have it, definitely take advantage of those discounts while you can. Also, our 2019 ski test results are up if you haven't taken a look at that. Tons of information, both the Soul Rider 97 and the 87 are included in that ski test. So definitely take a look. Really cool stuff. You can ask all sorts of questions. You can ask questions directly to the testers. So pretty cool. And then I'd also mention, in addition to these YouTube videos, the best way to get all these updates is to follow us on social media or sign up for our newsletter. There's a newsletter sign up right at the top of our homepage. That's the easiest place to do it. Enter your email. We don't share your email address with anyone else, and we'll only send you a few emails a week at most. And one of those is our Top 5 Fridays news article, which pretty cool. It's pretty fun to get that ski industry news every Friday. So that's about it that's going on at Ski Essentials right now. Let's dive right into the Soul Rider collection. So this is the 2019 Soul Rider collection in its entirety. This is the Soul Rider 97, this is the 87, and this is the 84. Last year, almost a year ago, a little less than a year ago exactly, we took a look at the Soul Rider 87. Talked a lot about that ski, kind of its versatile performance for kind of a playful skier. And really these skis, which we mentioned in that article, the 87 and the 97 are very similar. Use basically the same concept. One's just 10 millimeters wider. The 84 is a different ski somewhat. That's a full cambered ski with cap construction. So a little different over there. That's a great kind of lightweight, you know, younger teenagers, stuff like that. 84 is a great model, or lighter weight adults. But let's stick to the bread and butter here, the Soul Rider 97. So pretty cool ski. You don't see nearly as much hype or info about it as you do the Enforcer collection, which makes sense because the Enforcer, that whole series, and especially like the 93 and the 100, they're a little more appropriate for a wider range of skiers. These Soul Riders definitely can be skied by a lot of different skiers, but they focus a little bit more on playfulness. But before we get into performance, let's talk about construction. This uses Nordica's Energy 2 carbon construction, so fairly similar to how the Enforcers are built, except instead of 2 sheets of metal and carbon, you're just getting carbon. So basically an ash and poplar wood core, sandwiched between 2 sheets of carbon. There's a layer of fiberglass in there as well on the top of the core. And then new for 2019, in addition to the graphics, they have this new polyamide top sheet. I don't know if you can hear my fingernails on it, what fingernails I have, but pretty cool top sheet. It's going to be really, really durable, and I think that's going to be well received among skiers who are adventurous, free skiers, freestyle guys that tend to be hard on their equipment. I think that new top sheet's really cool. And then shape of the Soul Rider 97, you got 50% camber underfoot. In fact, let's put them together and look at it because I think the shape of these skis, the rocker profile is pretty interesting. If you don't put any pressure in them, they're really mostly camber. And I'll try and do some close-ups to show you guys. It's tough to see sometimes on this camera, but quite a bit of camber. It doesn't really feel like 50% camber until you decamber them, and then the tips really start to pop up. That's about where the rocker starts in the tip, and then in the tail about the same. Rocker starts about there. So it really is 50% camber underfoot and then 25% rocker in the tip and the tail, which pretty cool. And then let's talk about side cut too. The turn radius is actually pretty similar to the Enforcer line, and the length breakdown is similar to 169, 177. These are 177, and then there's a 185 as well. But you don't have any early taper on the Soul Riders. You do get a little bit of early taper on the Enforcer series, so wider tips and tails essentially. You're not getting that early taper starting here and then seeing the tip get narrower and narrower. Basically the widest point in the ski is all the way down at the end. Tips and tails, there's really no early taper. So twin tip obviously, so more of kind of a free ski focused all mountain ski. Nordica doesn't have any other twin tips, so pretty much anybody that's skiing park on a Nordica is going to be skiing one of these three models. But they do a lot more than that. So let's kind of talk about different performance here, and we'll run through different terrain and different snow conditions and kind of talk about how they act. So let's start by talking about groomers. When I first got on this ski, its groomer performance surprised me more than anything else. And before we go dive into performance, I'll say most of my experience on the Soul Rider 97 is skiing a center-mounted 185. So center-mounted in the longest length, which does translate to some interesting feel and different performance, which I'll get to. And kind of a theme among this, or throughout this article, is going to be that if you're not skiing park, or you're not going to ski backwards at all, go a little bit further back with your mount. But back to groomer performance, I was really impressed by the level of torsional stiffness in this ski. It holds an edge better than I expected, and I can pretty much guarantee that it holds an edge better than you would expect too. Really pretty impressive. It's not quite Enforcer level without those 2 sheets of metal, but still, like, you can ski it really fast and put a lot of pressure, a lot of power into a turn, and the ski holds an edge really well. It's also very snappy, very poppy out of a turn, definitely coming from those 2 sheets of carbon, and the fact that it's relatively lightweight. You know, there are times on this ski where I load up a turn so much that it kind of pops me too hard into the next turn, and I end up like landing on the outside edge of my inside ski and trying to like hold on. So tons of energy in and out of a turn, which is really satisfying for a ski like this. It's just a lot of fun. When I'm skiing my Soul Rider 97s, I'm not necessarily looking to ski groomers, but I spend a lot of time on groomers, whether it's getting from one place to another, and it's really fun just having that kind of snappy, responsive, energetic feel on groomers. Really fun to link pretty round GS turns, maybe small, a little bit smaller than your typical GS turn. In the 185, the turn radius is 18.5 meters, so not a tiny turn, but not a traditional GS turn. But still really fun, links rounded turns really well. And on groomers it also releases the tail edge really well too. Even at that center mounted 185, really released the edge quite easily. And in this footage you'll see a lot of footage of me skiing the 2018 graphic. I've skied both these new graphics as well, but spent a lot of time on the 2018 graphic, and the performance is the same. So don't be alarmed that I'm skiing a green ski instead of this new graphic. But yeah, on firm snow, really easy to release the tail edge. That 25% of tail rocker really comes into play, And the fact that there's no early taper in the tail really doesn't matter on firm snow, which helps in the terrain park too, which we'll get to. Then let's talk about kind of ungroomed snow. You know, this here at Stowe, we have some famous tree runs, some really cool ungroomed terrain. The front four trails are really fun. The Soul Rider was a blast to ski in terrain like that. I will say in terrain like, actually let's go back to groomers real quick. If you're not skiing backwards, like I was saying before, definitely go a little bit further back with your mount point, because that'll allow you to drive the tip of the ski a little bit more. On a center mounted ski, I was noticing that I was initiating turns a little more laterally than anything else. So back to ungroomed terrain, really fun. I love the weight, the swing weight, and the quickness of the Soul Rider. It's kind of similar. It really just likes to pop and jump and play through terrain like that, which I really like. I think, again, if you're not skiing park or not skiing it backwards, do go a little further back, because on that center mounted 185, it's quite a lot of tail, quite a lot of non-tapered tail for skiing things like moguls and tight trees. So a little bit more challenging to get that tail to come around. It doesn't smear or kind of wash a turn quite as easily in mixed or variable snow conditions as it does on groomed snow. On groomers, it's super easy. In firm snow, you feel a little bit of catch out of the tail, but for me, that's just because I was on a center mount 185. So if I had, put the mount point even 3 centimeters back or something like that, I think it would have eliminated that feel. And for me, I don't mind it at all if I have to work a little bit harder. I like being at that center mounted point, so super fun, not challenging, not fatiguing. It just doesn't slice or smear through the snow quite as easily as, say, like an Enforcer 93, with a little bit of taper in the tail on that ski. So super fun in off-piste terrain. Had a blast in trees, sides of trails. It's awesome. Little natural hits. It's just so much fun to kind of get in the air on the Soul Rider 97, which is how I like to ski most of the time, so it works really well for me. There are days at Stowe when we get a lot of snow. I have some wider skis in my quiver, but there were definitely some days that I just took the Soul Rider 97 out. It wasn't too long ago the 97 underfoot was really wide, and I think it still works really well in powder, especially with the wide tips. You get nice float out of the tip, and with that much tail rocker, it kind of allows the ski, like if you're imagining skiing powder with this much tail rocker, it allows the ski to kind of do that, sink into the snow a little bit behind you, which then allows the tip to float a little more easily. So definitely way more float on a ski like this than you would get out of a full cambered ski that's the same width. Because of that rocker, both in the tip and the tail, it really helps the ski stay up on top of the snow. And I think skis in this width range, when you don't have early taper, I think it improves performance in powder. I'm sure there's some people that disagree, but just because you get more float, you have more surface area in general, I think it does fantastic in powder as a 97 waisted ski. And then the terrain park, they're perfectly at home in the terrain park. 97 millimeters underfoot is traditionally a little bit wide for a true park ski, but in recent years the trend has been moving wider and wider. I personally love being on a ski this wide as kind of a daily driver park ski. I did have some days on the Soul Rider 87 too that you may have seen in the last year's video. That ski is a little quicker edge to edge, it's a little quicker on rails, it's a little easier to throw around. If I was competing in slope style, I would prefer to be on the 87, but as just a cruise around, play in the park ski, the 97 is so much fun. Lower swing weight than you'd expect. That 185, like I was saying, it's fairly long, but it wasn't wasn't exceptionally challenging to do switch-ups, spin onto rails. Sometimes a ski that long to me feels challenging to spin switch because it feels like your tips are going to catch on the takeoff and you have to wait a little bit longer. But I never really had that experience on them. At first, mentally, I thought it was going to happen, and they were just really smooth for me in pretty much every application in the park. I will say 185 is a little long. If I was strictly skiing this in the park, I'd want the 177, but I prefer having that 185 length because it's more stable when I'm skiing fast on groomers or ungroomed snow, more stable anywhere really. Better float, longer edge contact obviously, so you get slightly better edge grip. So I was perfectly happy kind of making the trade-off of a little bit more swing weight and a little bit more challenging feel in the terrain park for that stability and performance around the rest of the mountain. So that's the Soul Rider 97, 87, 84. Like I was saying, the 87 is very, very similar. Shares the exact same rocker profile, same turn radius, everything like that, same construction, just 10 millimeters narrower. So definitely take a look at the Soul Rider 97 and the 87. If you're in the market for an all-mountain ski and you want something playful, I think they're great for a skier like myself who has a terrain park background and now spends more time around the rest of the mountain than in the actual park. They're really fun because I'm not sacrificing a huge amount of performance in either place. Really not sacrificing any performance. It is really fun to get on an Enforcer 100 and just rip at high speeds. But you can ski pretty fast on the Soul Rider 97 and they don't feel unstable. Slightly less vibration damping than an Enforcer, but pretty fun. So as always, let us know if you have any questions. If you're curious whether this ski is right for you and you're unsure, definitely let us know. We're happy to chat about it. And there's just so many skis out there right now that definitely don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you need help kind of dialing in what ski is right for you, whether it's a Soul Rider or not. We're here. We're always here and ready to talk about skis. So ski season is approaching. Hopefully we'll be on snow. I think last video I said 3 months. Hopefully it's closer to 2 months. You never know. Keep doing those snow dances and we will see you on the slopes.